too thick now?
Dum dum dum. Oh, did it come on? Oh, there's a red light.
I didn't
Here's
see
the
that.
thin one, and here's one you get after we talk.
Oh,
There's
They just
one
came out nice.
one that's 4
Yeah, this is
millimeters in there, which is probably way too thick.
The original.
What are those? I can't see that.
Last week.
Pass them around. Pass them
Those
around.
two straight.
Good, right?
I'm sorry.
Pass them
This
around.
is
Pass them
3
around.
acres.
Density of this is very high.
Yeah.
This is not as dense.
No.
Because in 3D, you cannot get the same density.
But this is
Well,
kind
not-
of flimsy right here.
Not
This
with
is
that
the
material.
idea.
So this is what
Did you try an issue?
I haven't done it yet, but I will.
Pass them around.
Yeah.
Pass them around. Other people want to see them.
So what are
I've
those?
seen them. I know what they look
They're
like.
called
I'm sure he wants to see them. I'm sure he hasn't.
lace anchors.
I'm sure he's really curious about the work he
Lease
did.
anchors?
Yeah, because I don't have the right shoe on, but they anchor right into here.
Gotcha.
So if I bar lace these,
Now you want to buy a 3D printer.
Now he wants to 3D printer.
see, I had extra, cords. I would only use half of a lace for one shoe, and I've had extra anchors.
He
where I wear
needs a
hiking
3D
boots.
printer.
I haven't retied my
Dad,
shoes
give me
in
a 3D
probably
printer.
5 years.
I think the one they have in school is a long queue. The
Yeah.
first one he could get faster
Mhm.
because he had submitted it prior to the school started.
You-
So the teacher could print it faster, but now is
Here's the original.
you give the second one? Second time?
Here's the they're anchors. So you use them as anchors. So these are
So is that the 2mm one? The double one?
yeah.
Yeah. That's the one. I think that's as close.
That's a good.
I think that's as close as we're ever going to get.
Yeah.
I'm
Now
worried.
this one I may use it at the bottom, but this is pretty damn thick right here. That was your one.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, that was yours?
Yeah, that was.
He designed all
I
of
could
them.
probably use this at the bottom part.
He designed all of them.
I made one for
Cool.
1 millimeter.
I just supplied a 3D printer to print stuff.
What's this one right
Great.
here?
I'm worried Leroy will get to the point where he's programming my shoe.
I'm programming your
Yeah.
shoe.
My shoe's not working, Leroy. What's your
Here's the
what's
thing.
your help desk?
Program me the
But you brought your printer last time.
I've got 2
right?
left feet.
Yeah,
What do I do?
I just didn't bring it this
Yeah,
time.
yeah, no, I understand.
Yep.
Prana.
We couldn't come last week because they had the in the high school they had the meeting.
Yeah.
Right,
Turned
and
out
both
pretty good though.
my wife and I we would have to go.
That was pretty strong.
So.
Edgewood canceled class today because there was a kid with E. coli.
Well,
Oh,
I emailed him after the meeting and said, this is what we think, and he emailed back. And I think the 2mm are probably the right
Yeah.
size.
I mean, this is also pretty good. It's sturdy.
Pretty sturdy.
Yeah.
That plastic, he said, is made out of cornstarch and sugar cane.
Yeah, well,
Really?
if you're out at the road, you can see.
What somebody
That's what
looked
the
it up.
internet
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
There's a
PV,
hill
PLC,
that goes-
PLC,
PLA,
it's
PLA.
Yeah.
and then
cornstarch
people
and
coming in
sugar
from the
cane
right.
fiber.
It's a three-way stop
Rest.
sign.
I was
Yeah.
reading about. I think ABS may be a better material
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
But what they said, the limitation of 3D printing is, it's not like a casting,
What, the
right?
wheel?
It's not like dense.
That's probably. you
So
got
it
the
is
camera
printing
slant
another layer, so
scan
there's
slant
some
thing.
gap there actually.
Actually, if
doing the same thing
I watched
Yeah,
the thicker one, the 4mm one,
it does look. pretty
there's a
good.
lot of air inside of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just
But
so
you
it
want
won't.
an
It
excellent
won't.
printer.
Well, I could have
Yeah,
set
it
I
does have
could have
a
set it so that
cornstarch and sugar cane.
it printed it denser.
It's in a
Uh-huh.
moist
But
environment, it'll start to-
I didn't.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
that
okay.
that particular one has a lot of air in it.
Did you bring yours?
No.
Oh,
His were probably pretty
I
thin.
do have a
Did
video
did you get
that
did
came
you get to
from the
print
video.
some of these?
no, only the first batch he printed, and
No,
they
that
didn't
one
come
from the
out
video. That's-
Yeah.
as strong, right? So
Yeah.
the
So
second
that
batch
was from
he
the
didn't get it back
the
yet.
print
So.
screen
Okay.
from
You know the
video.
printer he printed these on was an open box model. He bought it for $125 shipped. That's pretty darn impressive.
Everybody needs
And he
$125
showed how if you
3D
glue it
printer.
with glue stick or vinyl net,
Yeah.
it helps the plastic stick.
And that's what
It
Dad
helped.
did,
It
right?
helped get it off, not stick. I didn't want it to stick. I wanted
Or
to
get it off,
off.
get it off, okay, so you can remove it easy.
Oh, you need both. In some big prints, if not, start to move.
Yeah.
On the base.
This
You
is
need
my phone.
You
to
need
be
to
sticking
separate.
there,
While
but
it's
then
in
it needs to
camera.
be easy to remove. So
These-
it's-
these-
yeah.
these-
So it does both. It keeps
This
it solid, but
made-
also
The glue just made the
Thank God.
real thin ones were like impossible to get off without the glue.
Right.
But I don't really know if I need the glue for the thicker
Is-
ones.
Yours has a heated plate.
Yeah. They were still-
in mine. That was the hardest part to fine tune,
Yeah.
and I finally the best results I get is with the plate is cold, but I put paint
this is a
tape,
little thicker, but like
and
you
that
said,
works
this
great
is
for me.
more flexible. So.
Yeah,
I could see that.
This one even has the little heat.
And one thing
Yeah.
I noticed is
Help
if I
around the,
change material,
yeah.
another
So
roll
created
from
the
a different
ridges and
brand,
the second
I
one.
need
Yeah.
to start
Yeah.
to tweak temperatures again.
That's a
why-
real life application.
Even
Yeah.
among say brand, even among say, I bought two grays
This
from
one's
the same.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They were sitting right next to each other, and when
eventually
you
they'll
print them,
warp.
they're two different grays. They're
Yeah.
two
Oh,
different
I think
colors.
they'll warp over.
So they were very, very close to each other, but it was still
Yeah.
like, okay, that's not quite right.
Put them,
make that
put them
one
on,
there.
I think, and see.
I'm
And I
gonna
found the
lace them
perfect
up.
setting
Yeah.
for
I
the
didn't wear
one
the
gray, and then
shoes
I ran
today.
out
I'll
of it,
wear them
and I
next
haven't
week.
found the perfect setting for the
I'll
second
relace
gray. But it prints okay, so I'm not real concerned about it. All right, folks. Yeah, do that. Attention.
Right on.
The meeting's starting
Right on.
because it's time.
Right on. Hey,
He
Mark,
made it on time. Hey, Jim.
How do you like high school?
Hey, Jim. You want to say who you are and what you're doing?
I'm Jim. Yeah, and I visited the Cincinnati Bell thing last night. Got some interesting information and pictures. It was more interesting than I thought. And that's it for me. Nick,
I'm Barry.
you know the president.
That was short. Mark, I'm Mark, and
He's Mark. I'm Leroy, and I'm in charge of this mess
He's in
tonight.
charge.
I've got
Mike,
I've got
new
nothing.
Printed lace anchors, thanks to probably Pradam and Leroy.
Leroy just supplied the printer. Had nothing to do with designing the thing. Give all the credit to
But
him.
that's very important. Right?
Even got the teeth in there.
I'm Ivan.
I'm from, I made design some of these for the past 2 weeks, and then I tried to make a clock out of with the LCD display from our kit. All the instructions I saw online had used in RTC, which I don't have.
What's an RTC?
Real-time clock, so it'll connect and show you real
You
time.
didn't have in your kit? I thought there is.
But if anyone has a way for designing a clock with an LCD display or the 4-digit 7-segment clock, the clock face, I would love to know that. Yep.
I have clocks.
Yes, clock.
I think he just volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a wireless. There's ones that use the clock for Google Clock or they pull the information from down in and they keep it. Actually, I'm working on one which I'll probably post over the next week. So stay tuned to our website. I have one actually that go ahead, Leroy.
I'm not. You're up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do anything. I don't do. I just kind of play around with whatever he's doing. I did see him playing with this kit also. That I think he had some questions, so he
Yeah.
will talk to Leroy after the meeting. So
Oh,
make this robot.
It's an open house, so you may be talking during the meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if nobody else really has anything.
Project.
Peter, you want to ask?
Yeah. So
I mean, it was a very simple
But
thing.
let's finish going around first.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
the same thing. Go for it, Marcus.
I'm Marcus. As I was saying, I was actually been working on one of Leroy's projects that he brought in before, and it has a clock, actually a clock that's actually wireless, and then it pulls the information from the website, and then it keeps the clock time based on the clock of the microprocessor. So you don't really need an RTC. So that's one thing I've been working on, and also with the big LCD displays. Which is one of the things that Leroy showed, is that being able to change, number one, doing over-the-air updates. And also, I don't know if you noticed about the 8266 and the ESP32s, is that in order to stop them from publishing their SSID, that you have to set a certain flag to disable that. I don't
Okay.
know if you notice when you go in and look at your wireless, on your phone, you look on the wires, you see all of these.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually turn that off. So that's one of the things I play with too, is the over-the-air connection, and also being able to, when you first bring up your project, being able to set the wireless access point, to be able to set that sort of dynamically, as opposed to doing it hard wiring it in or hard coding it in, which is of course more secure. So anyway, that's what I've been working on a little bit. And so hopefully I may bring something next week or something if I get to a point where I can show something. Well, yeah, Steve. Thought I'd never get done, did you?
We got time.
I'm done.
That's correct.
I've probably got an RTC or two if you want.
Yeah, we
In
got-
the car.
Oh, wow.
That's gonna be.
It's in the car.
I'm pretty sure I've got my toy box with me.
Okay. So, just because. Oh, where'd it go? That's what happened. You click on something.
There's a clock.
There's a clock. That is using an ESP32, which is a wireless device that you can program with Arduino. It will actually change the color of the font based on a color that somebody tweets. What's wrong?
I was just fixing my ass.
Oh, I thought there was something wrong.
I'm not causing trouble yet.
But you can be prepared.
Yeah.
So it also it'll grab the first it goes off to a weather API, and it tries to decide best guess what your time zone is. Sometimes it does not guess correctly. Sometimes it guesses very correctly, but you don't need to set the clock that way, and you don't need to change your time zone inside the sketch. So the clock is smart-ish to grab the time zone and everything and sets your time, and then it will also display, like, apparently there were thunderstorms and it was 81 degrees the day I took that picture. But the font color of the clock face and the date, those are set by something called cheer lights. And cheer lights is a color that you can tweet. You can tweet a new color to @cheer lights and change the clock face. Well, actually, you could change all the colors around the world with that thing, but
So, but it doesn't say anywhere what time zone it thinks you're in, right? It just gives the time.
no, because I had a real clock sitting there, and I was like, okay, that's right.
So it takes that time zone from the IP address, or
It actually grabs the time from the NTP servers, the time servers.
Yeah.
It first it checks with the weather API to try to guess where you are, and then it grabs the time, and then it adjusts the time based on where it thinks you are, because the NTP servers all are based on Zulu time, so they're all, Greenwich Mean Time, old school Greenwich Mean Time. So you've got to adjust that clock for, plus or minus wherever you really are in the world.
Where do you adjust it? In the sketch, or does it do it?
So network
Yeah,
time
well,
protocol.
so when it actually, I don't know if I've got the sketch anywhere. So when it actually,
Yeah.
when it actually grabs the time,
You're using the same. It's got
Similar
the
to,
same thing,
right.
yeah.
we can see if we can see the code. But when it actually grabs the time, it tells it to adjust it. Just it'll say there'll be a spot
Thanks,
in here.
Ben.
There has to be something else. The time server doesn't give out a time zone.
Yeah, but
not
your-
an NTP.
Your
No.
IT would, kind
Yeah,
of.
if it went to what'smyip.org or something,
Well, that's
that can
The
come back
packet
and
will
tell
carry
you
Well-
where you're at.
my original. Okay, so this sketch is based on some of my original code and somebody else's code, and we actually kind of collaborated on this and came up with this. My original code was grabbing the external IP address, and then it was figuring out where we were at using Get My IP, and it was dead on every single time. This is a little funky because it's grabbing the IP address from the weather API,
Okay.
and it's off. Sometimes it's just off, and I'm not real sure why. I've sat there and tried to figure it out, but if I
Where it
change it
goes
back to use my original code, it's dead on every single time. But I can't really argue. So right down in here, when you begin your time client, this is where you set the offset. So once the time library knows what your offset is, it just automatically applies it. So, but that's where it's grabbing the offset way down in here. So we try to figure out where we are, and then we try to figure out where our time zone actually is. And this must be an old sketch because we are still using Get My IP or IPAPI.com and the time zone database API.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's a really good database for times related stuff. Unfortunately, you need an API access key to use it, but it works, and it works dead on every single time. And then once we have our offset,
If you're using cellular.
once we have our offset, we're good to go, and we just check the time server, and that's it. Simple, easy. Then every, I forget where it's at. Every couple of seconds, we're checking to make sure that the colors haven't changed on the cheer lights. And every 10 seconds or so, which is really overkill, but every 10 seconds or so, we reset the clock back to the NTP. It's really...
Damn, 10 seconds? They
Wasn't
love
my-
you.
That wasn't my decision. It wasn't my decision.
Yeah, but the clock on that thing can't be very accurate, so I understand.
Oh, well, I'm sitting there watching and I'm going, it's accurate to like 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, we could at least...
In what period of the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can at least leave it alone for,
Yeah.
12 hours and then reset it.
No. If my clock is off by 2 minutes, I think it's broken.
Okay, so update it every
Yeah.
half hour.
Yeah,
I mean, it,
for every time it renews its IP. That's reasonable.
it that
How
wasn't
often does
that,
that usually
wasn't
happen?
the 10-second thing wasn't my idea.
Yeah, every 4 hours.
Every 4
By
hours.
default on most settings.
Yeah, there's really not much to this, really. We update the screen. That's about it. The cheer lights are coming in on MQTT, so the colors come in, and it comes in as either a color name or a RGB value. And in this particular case, we're using the RGB value, not the name, just because it was a little easier to do for what we wanted to do. That's about it. But anyway, we have plenty of clocks. We like clocks. Clocks are fun.
Can do it pretty nice actually. A lot of things can be built around it.
Yeah. So just ask anybody about clocks. We like clocks.
This is how like you get the clock in Costco, atomic clock. So that's how it kind of keep.
Those actually have a AM radio receiver in them.
Yep.
And there are 3. I think WWV is a radio station operated by the government, and they have a transmitter, I believe, in DC, one in Colorado, and one in Hawaii.
Yep.
And usually they're pretty decent, but if you just listen to them, they sit there tick, 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 tick. At the tone, the time will be 16:25, and I think it gives the date as well. And then it gives a tone, and that tone actually has 2400 baud
Yep. That's the sync
signals
code.
in it that digitally tell you what the time is as well.
And they do it every minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it syncs up every minute.
Yeah, and plus it also has the tick, 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 and those are 18 cycles of 320 hertz. I mean, so the beginning and ending time of those sine waves is also a time marker. It's pretty neat. I've been in WWV, so
WWV.
yeah.
So they have millions of listeners.
Oh, millions and millions. Yes.
And the
So,
military
you got
uses
your
them
mic?
for
Yeah.
reference if their time gets on.
Mhm.
I have a Navy guy. And then also call the Navy to say what time is it occasionally.
So many, many years ago,
Air
Radio
Force.
Shack sold these little cubes that was called a weather radio.
Yep.
And you could stretch coils in them to get different frequencies. And I used to retune those things to pick up WWV.
They were like
Yeah.
at 5 and 10 megahertz back in the old days.
Yeah, I don't remember the frequency, but yeah, it's
Right
a
here.
stable.
10 was pretty
Yep, 10.
dependable.
Yeah, you need a shortwave receiver most of the time.
2.5, 5, 10, 15, and 20.
And
The-
Canadians had a single sideband version of that. The Canucks.
Europeans have one. Europeans have a.
But it counted time in drips of maple syrup.
Yeah.
It's so tasty.
So that can also be integrated with the display if you can put a receiver on this radio receiver.
It would be a little
Yeah.
more difficult.
This
I don't know how you get it to feed the syrup.
how do I forget to feed the syrup? This particular device already had the display built into it. It's also got an SD card and some other fun, happy
Okay.
things. It's a little bit more advanced than the Arduino stuff, but it's really not any harder to use it. It's just you've got the Wi-Fi built into it. That one's got Bluetooth built into it. It's got the SD card, which I've never ever used for any particular reason other than the fact that it's there. It's got the color display. Color display is nice, just because.
Round numbers, what's the cost?
I think that one was under 20. That one may have been closer to the $20 mark. That one did quite a bit.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
I was thinking
I'm not real sure what that one cost.
I don't think my cat feeder has one of those in it because it's drifting pretty bad.
There's another one. Let's see. Do I have a picture of it? No. Yes. That one's a little bit bigger display, but it's basically the same device. It's still a ESP32. The device, the display's built into it.
Yeah. You're in the right place.
You're here. You found us.
There's a seat for you right here too.
Awesome, thank you.
You have to sit next to Mike though.
Yeah, that's a burden you have to bear.
And you see, I took a pic. When I took that picture, the color was blue, and apparently the thunderstorm had changed to light rain and 75 degrees. So it wasn't much better as far as the temperature goes.
But it still dropped 6 degrees.
But it still dropped 6 degrees. So,
Was that other one a low rock?
what?
Laura.
No, I've got a couple of those LoRa devices.
Well, that's why it looks a lot like the one you had up there before. This is like
It's-
$24, but
it's made by the same. It's made by the same company. That's probably why it looks. It's not. I was actually looking for.
this one's 18. Without your Uber.
There is. This is a tiny. It's pretty small.
Your arcade.
No, it's actually an ESP32. I wrote the same clock program to work with this one too. Color screen. It's got a couple buttons. It does not have the SD card. It's got accelerometer. It actually has a real time clock built into it, but it does not hold time very well. So you still have to update it. It'll hold the time a little bit better, but not.
in olden times there used to be a timer IC555. Anybody remember
555?
that?
Oh, 555 times.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a
555.
good clock,
No,
that's
no.
for making like a square wave output or
Right,
something.
right. So I used that once for that, Philips, that preamp that you make. So I made a preamplifier,
Mhm.
and that's where it was used somewhere. I don't
For
remember
a tone
where.
generator.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's only like $10.
Offhand, do you know if there's a library for these things that emulates a VT100?
I gotta look VT.
There is a library
It's the standard term.
that's called Terminal
Okay.
for this thing, but it doesn't compile,
It's
and I
Terminal.
haven't dug into why it's not compiling.
Okay.
Probably because it uses degraded commands.
I think
haven't seen
it's
30
one.
years ago.
It's old, my dinosaur.
I think it's because it was written for the full size M5 stack
That's an
and
old
not the
terminal, right?
tiny one.
Oh, probably.
But
Yeah,
that's my
but it's
that's
still
my
beautiful.
guess.
That's what the Linux
Oh,
soul is based on.
oh,
See,
Steve, you're
that's
pushing it
pretty
now,
old.
buddy. You're pushing it.
Oh, yeah.
I want something like that sitting on my desk,
That's kind of like
Can
Heathkit.
connect
Generation.
into my Nokia server and run some Nokia,
project you
which gives me a color text display
I've
of the
just
health of
worked on all
the
kinds of
crap on my
stuff.
network.
Let's let let's let him introduce himself and tell us
Yeah, let's go.
what's up
Greetings.
and all the fun, happy stuff.
Yeah, I just was thinking on Meetup. I saw that there was a technology automation group here. I just graduated in 2018 from UC with a degree in electrical engineering, so that's kind of my background there. And I just graduated with a master's degree from Case, and found my way back to Cincinnati. And I just thought I'd check and see what events were going on. I thought I'd see what kind of IoT projects the community was kind of
What's your name?
working on. I'm Zach. Oh, sorry. I mentioned that.
And, Zach,
Well-
the Lawson dot, what is it, R5?
Oh, yeah, that's a
That's
long one.
1970.
Zach.shaw.lawson.zsl.
Do something right.
ZSL,
So
okay.
You don't need to redo it.
At
Gmail.com.
If it ain't broke, don't.
ZSL what?
At
Slash?
gmail.com.
Okay.
Oh, man,
Remember
it's
those
pretty bad.
terminal
DSL.
cables? Those
So,
Well, you
you guys
fit
meet
right in.
every week?
Every week, unless there's a holiday or something.
Everyone's mostly working with
Again, I'll send you a copy of the website. You go look at the, you'll see, we're a Freedom from Fear website. You come in here, there's no demands made of you. We don't intimidate anybody. We try not
You
to.
just made him introduce himself.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, it's got to be, we force you to introduce yourselves and stuff like that. But
We
it's-
do force you to introduce
Yeah.
yourself, yes.
We typically go around, introduce yourself, and if you got anything, if you don't have anything, you don't want to do anything, just say you can vote present, and the next one. So we try not to, people produce demonstrations here, and we don't say anything negative. If they don't produce a demonstration or whatever, there's no pressure on them. It's work to put demonstrations together, so we encourage people, and we're good guys. Try to keep it light, try to keep it nice, try to be positive.
So is everyone generally working on a project and then each week it's kind of like an update on that? Or is it
Lately, we've been more, nobody's had a lot of projects. Well, Leroy does a lot of projects.
Yeah, he does a lot.
And
I do none.
and people bring stuff in. This young gentleman here is bringing projects in, and I have little projects that I bring in. Mine are tiny and usually off the subject. I'm the old president of the club. Leroy is vice president and current moderator, and so I'm old school, different automation technology. That was for me. It's turned more into a processor type club, robotic processor type, and whatever we come up with, hand radio.
IoT.
Yeah, IoT.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi,
Marcus
Arduinos,
down there.
too.
Raise your hand, Marcus. Say
Yeah.
hi. He's working on a big IoT project at his house.
Very well documented.
Very well documented.
Uses the club website to document his stuff.
Is it open source?
Oh, of course.
Anyone tried installing anything there?
We
You
have
guys each other's projects or?
Everyone, we usually will
They're-
pick up on some, like you pick up on projects, but you don't necessarily just start from, you sort of want to do it yourself somewhat,
Sure.
we're not sort of like, take this and plug it in and go. It's like, take this, take that, take this, pull these things together. And,
Here's a box.
Here's
But,
Enjoy your parts.
yeah, exactly.
here. I made this. Now you guys figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
We have some other project people. Vicente is another project-oriented guy.
Yeah.
Getting him to documenting thing is pulling teeth. This is our
He's the
documenting wonder
documenter
guy.
to the
I
end.
mean, he
The mad
does
silent.
slides. He does documentation.
It does PowerPoint. I can't
Yeah.
believe they actually don't
Raise
get mad
your
when I bring up PowerPoint.
Oh, Ray's got stuff.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
This is Zach. This is Ray.
He's a robot and laser guy.
He's into all kinds of stuff.
No.
I guess I'll
So-
sit over here with you guys today.
Yeah.
Damn.
So anyway,
All right.
Right by Leroy.
Oh.
Why you cursing?
This is Zach. It's his first time.
Hey, Zach.
How's it going?
Sorry, I didn't know you was coming. I would have brought you something.
He would have.
He would have.
it's Zach Lawson. What? What was that?
Oh man, I actually have an easier email than mine.
Um,
Are you passing
do
off
you
thermal
want
printers?
to say anything about the website?
I don't know know if we changed anything last week or
No,
anything.
and it's I can't get it to fully load right
No,
now.
Plus.
You know,
The Google Plus is
I'll send you
the size is working.
one thing we do need to get to, Zach, I'll send you
Oh, you can't get it. It's
a
not
meeting
updated, though,
announcement,
is it?
and you can go look at the bottom of the list of documents that you can get to is a list of everything we've done.
Oh, great.
It's basically the meeting announcements of stuff we've done at historical. It's for probably the last year.
Did we already do the round robin of who everybody is? And
Yeah, and we got a new member, and he walked in after the round robin, and
Yeah, so nobody really knows.
we're robbing you next.
He doesn't know who anybody is.
because I'm hardly, and I always come in right after the round robin
Yeah.
if I get here.
He's traveling.
I can get
You're
the
getting here awful lot, right?
I can get the
You're back
projects
I'm
to load, but
trying, I'm
it's
trying
not
so
doing
hard.
it on the front page for
You
some
would think
reason.
those would be the ones that are harder to load. Maybe, maybe that's what we ought to do
Oh,
too,
really?
is just make that a part of the meeting, is to
That's
just
my-
go over any projects that's
my
been
fun thing.
placed
It's
on
not why I
there.
travel.
Just a quick little overview or
Well,
something.
Vicente suggested that every week we
I
do something like that.
Laser
Yeah,
machine,
that
laser
makes
engraving,
sense.
things.
So,
So,
if you've got anything new to say about it,
Yeah.
other than go and use it.
Yeah, yeah, just to show that, you don't have to go into detail, just in case it may get people's interest up to go look at the
Gap
website
Lab,
and see what's out there.
Ray's just sitting here chatting.
Sorry, they're DAP lab where they do modeling and stuff.
ZSL 5?
Two lasers on
ZSL 5, Zach?
there. Yeah, ZSL5.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
That is much easier.
What do you
Yeah,
got,
check
Ray,
this
since you were late?
Since I'm late, I'm sorry.
I knew you
I
were
have a
coming,
Pop
too.
Tart.
Food.
That's my lunch.
Food, woohoo.
So I had breakfast in Tampa, lunch in Chicago, and since then I went to the junkyard, picked up my daughter from school, from college, and got my son off the bus, and I'm here. So I have not stopped. So here's the thing that I brought tonight that I want to give away. I bought a box of these, so I have like 45 of these at home, and what they are is thermal printers, but what sucks about them is there is no serial port interface that I know of. The only interface you have is this infrared front end. Okay, so the research that I've done on them is that they take a simple IRDA plus protocol, and so you hook up an infrared transmitter on your Arduino, you program your protocol, and it should be able to start spitting out stuff on the little thermal printer.
Very cool.
So I brought 3 power cords, 3 printers that I know work, because there's a method where you just, when you turn it on, you hold down a couple buttons and it spits out a print job. So I put in probably 6 feet of thermal paper for each one of these, and I don't even know if these work. They just came out of my scrap pile. So, but I know that these work, and I tested them last year. But that's why I'm bringing them here, because I got to give them to somebody that's going to do something with them. And I ran them with a power cord. I did not run them with batteries. I pulled the batteries out because I didn't want it to corrode everything. There might be a little bit of corrosion in one of them. I don't know. This one's nice, pretty clean.
That one's nice and clean. Yeah.
Very, very clean. If you're going to run them, I do recommend that you put them on a wall wart power supply or something. See, they look nice and clean too.
Well, that's just the way it is. The one I grabbed's got to be the dirty one.
So what I did find on some of my other printers, so I've got like an Eltron and some others that run on parallel ports, data buses. If I turn the voltage up a little bit more, I get darker prints. I think this one actually has a better regulator in it, so that the darkness is might be programmed or settable in here. But these 3 print decently, and they're free to anybody that actually wants to do some diagnostics and try to get them running. Because if we can get somebody to help us do a protocol in Arduino, I mean, think about it, how easy it would be to put in an infrared on one pin and then just send it serial communications. I mean, that's what, a resistor and an IR LED, and then this becomes completely separate. That gives us a good, easy output method for whatever our Arduino is doing. And then if we can get a couple people to work on the protocol, then once we have a protocol established, I'll give away everybody can have one. I don't care.
I would appreciate one.
We knew you were going to get one.
A head start on the IRDA protocol, that the source for that is in the Linux kernel. So
Why didn't you tell me that?
straightforward.
Why didn't you tell me that? So I knew that you would be getting one, Steve. But yes, that's why. I do have the owner manual for these, but I don't have any protocol information. So if you do have that, that'd be great, and I'll be happy to work with whoever wants to start on this little project. So, other than that, I know somebody has a really cool robot over there.
Actually,
for
he
you.
has questions, so the man is here.
In the assembly instructions that are online, one of the ribbon colors is in the photo backwards, which shorts out everything, and your robot acts like it's dead.
Oops.
The other problem that's in the whole thing is
He hasn't even.
it says CH340 driver, so you have to put in the right driver in order to run the Arduino.
He hasn't actually
Is there
said
another-
what the problem
is there
is.
better-
yet.
Okay. What's your other question? Since I know those are two main problems.
Oh, that's not my.
Oh,
His is robot.
Yeah,
what's
it's
his doing?
So, I started barely anything. I just started on the first two, but then I ran into a problem with putting these.
Putting the standoffs in the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to buy an M3 or an M4 tap and tap the holes. If you come to my shop Saturday or anytime, just give me a heads up. I'll help you go through the whole assembly if you want to, and we'll make sure that if you have any broken parts or short wires or anything, we can do that. The kit that I've been giving away to everybody is the 0.6 design release, and so I did some changes on the 0.7 design release, and what I did was I added some more flex lines so that that top piece actually curves with the frame a little better. There's a dozen more improvements, but yes, you're supposed to have
M3 tap on that.
it's an M3 tap in a couple places, M4 tap in a couple other places. But you did get brass standoffs, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if you use a like a nut driver, you can just push it right on, and it's not a problem. Just some people, I don't know why, they have to have some taps there or some threads there already to get started. But if you just push it in,
Yeah.
that's why I made sure there were brass.
So this is
metal
your
standoffs.
design.
Yes, yeah, I designed
okay.
it completely.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to take all the credit. Jim helped, Leroy helped, several other people in the club helped with design, and
I helped more with the original design.
the original stuff. This robot is a derivative of the Biddy rover and a compact rover, and it was 2 years of, hey guys, let's push this off the table and see what breaks. And well, this stuff is too brittle. We can't make it out of acrylic. Let's make it out of something else. We thought about wood. And
I still have the
styrene.
original Biddy box.
So, yeah, we went through a whole bunch of different ideas, and then they were like, well, it's too complicated. In order to change anything, you have to take it all apart. Let's design one that doesn't have to come apart ever after you've put it together. Everything is accessible. So, and this is it. This is easier.
We had, what was mine? Mine was the Little Hammerhead. Mine was called the Little Hammerhead.
It was a narrower,
and it was
thinner
much
version of
smaller
this.
than that. That's a nice big.
Everybody wanted something with a little bit more bulk, more surface space on the top, so that if they wanted to add something here or there, that there was space. I mean, it kind of looks like there's little wings over here. It's just space for you to add something. If you don't like it, snap it off right there.
I'm not even
The-
sure if you've got one of the original designs.
The kit comes with an Arduino Uno
I think
that
I might be
is
the
just
only
these
one.
4 screws, but you notice it's got 2 more screws if you wanted to change it to a Mega. And the Mega is not that much more expensive. It gives you a lot
He's
more
got a Mega.
programming space and stuff. So it's really cool. The prototyping space, it gives you a place to plug in some wires and actually put in resistors, learn about the resistors that are used for the light sensors. Besides that, there's lots of space for everything in there. If you're missing anything or if you have any questions, you can give me a call, an email. Please don't call me. So
This microphone.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay, but
Yeah.
before you go and call me, think about all the information really is on that one web page. It's on the
Yeah.
website. Almost everything is there. But there's one problem on the assembly instructions where if you follow the picture shows the color on the ribbon is backwards. And so many people, they don't read the words and they just follow the colors that are on it. And it shorts it out if you follow the picture. So the diagram's right, the schematic's right, but the photo. So so why did we design this robot? This is an automation technology club. Everybody in here is getting to learn about coding. We're learning about the Arduino Uno as an automation component. Serial communications, displays, character display, learn about resistors. And this was supposed to be like, it's what we wanted to call a level 1 robot. It's not like a 0 snap, turn it on, you're done. Okay, that's for children. Okay, you are not what I would call a child. My son is 6 years old and he is a child. Okay, but he was learning the snap together electronic stuff at 3. Okay, so he's probably one of the smartest 6-year-olds I know. But this programming is a little bit harder, a little bit beyond him. But I think you definitely are ready for this kid. I had been working with Ashland University, Ohio, to do some marketing, to get all these ideas of how to simplify the kit, to convey the information easier, better. There's also a charter school in Dayton that we've been bouncing ideas off of. We do focus groups, which is where we'll bring in 15 kids, and high school kids, junior high school kids, and then we had a focus group where we brought in the college students, and it's like, hey, just build this and tell me, what did you have questions about, what did you have problems with, what was difficult, why, and how can we make this easier. And going with the the belief and religion of Leroy, we've tried to make this thing as cheap as possible. So that is the way of Leroy.
Vicente's even cheaper than I am.
The way of Leroy is, what? You paid 40 cents for that? No. Okay, so we have done everything we can.
3 weeks, you could have gotten it for 38.
38 cents.
Yeah, if you waited 14 months, you could have gotten that for a penny.
So we do order in mass quantity, and we put it in the shipping with some other stuff that I buy, and the shipping is free from China. I know generally you buy stuff on eBay and it says, "Oh, shipping is free from China." No, it's really free. And when you buy stuff from eBay and they say free shipping, they've rolled it into something other cost. But yeah, we're buying bulk in order to get some darn good prices.
You competing with like Parallax and stuff?
No, Parallax is actually one of my customers.
Oh.
So they have one of my laser machines, and I know Chip, and I know some of the guys.
Is this your robotic kit?
Yeah, this is, so I guess it's a similar thing. Parallax, they make the basic stamp and some other stuff. Their stuff is stupid expensive.
Yeah.
Their basic stamp chip is the same price as my entire kit.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's absurd.
Yeah.
What about Lady Ada stuff? Or is this like I don't know if she had a.
Now, this is
She's got some.
There's an ultrasonic distance sensor in here. There's a 9K. There's a Bluetooth module. There's Arduino Uno. There's a I2C backpack on the back of the LCD screen. You're welcome to use any battery source that you want. I just included this because, well, I designed the kit around it. The fuselage, or the main center body of the kit, is designed to fit this right into it. But if you look at the rest of the fuselage, you pull out the front supporting pin, and you can fit any size.
This is your design?
No. So, one of my things that I'm going to buy here within a couple months, I'm going to buy a Formlabs 3 3D printer, and I'm going to make my own Mecanum wheels and other fun, goofy stuff. So,
I'm not as cheap as you think I am. I paid $100 for that.
oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack. You paid money for
I
that?
paid money for that,
Holy crap.
and it came relatively quickly too, from the United States even.
That's what I should have expected.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they got pretty blue gearboxes like mine.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
going to
actually.
design something like that.
it actually works pretty well.
That's cool. So I was going to use the Formlabs printer to make some wheels like that. That's cool.
Those metal wheels are pretty nice. I've got some 3D printed ones that don't work quite as well.
Yeah, but they weren't printed off of Formlabs.
I don't know what they were printed off of. I bought them from China.
Is rollers on the wheel, they are self-driven or they just
They're
roll?
not driven at all.
Oh, they're not driven at all.
No. Now, next week, I'll bring this in. I was going to bring it in this week, but I knew that a couple of people that were interested in it weren't going to be here.
Okay.
If you look at the wheels, left side versus right side, the rollers are like 45 degree angles. And they're
Yeah.
90 degrees from each other.
Yeah.
So if they both do this, you're fine. But if they do like this, the robot will go sideways. But the other way, the robot goes the other direction. It's really cool.
It'll spin.
So if the rollers roll on their own, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Sort of.
it's four-wheel independent drive.
Yes, then it can happen. Correct.
Yeah, it's four-wheel
It is
independent
kind of
drive.
simulating the wheels. If you take the wheels and turn them on a axis, right? Then the whole thing can rotate like this
Yes.
on its on a center point.
No,
No?
no. You have to see this thing work in order to really understand. I mean, unless you get a pretty
No, you
brilliant
can
mind.
make it rotate.
Yes.
It-
You
it'll
can
rotate in
rotate.
a circle right there?
Yeah,
Yes. Can rotate in the
But it'll
circle.
strafe left and right, though.
It'll
Too.
do that too.
Yes.
Yeah, it is pretty wicked.
Well,
you guys
yeah,
see
So
it.
you need all
Definitely.
four wheels.
It's pretty clever actually. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Good
it-
design.
two left, two right. and
it'll
pretty wicked.
spin.
It'll spin in place.
Yeah, it spins.
But then if you put two, yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
wicked.
funny.
It's your left wheel. It's I don't remember which one it is, but left and right are on the same side, and left and right are on the same side. It's not a left. It's not a left on
Yeah.
both sides.
So if you
It's-
spin
yeah,
one backwards and one forwards, it goes sideways.
it goes sideways.
That's wicked.
Yeah,
To,
Right,
to
right,
strafe
right,
left and right,
right.
yes.
it'll go sideways. It'll spin in place.
So
Most
all-
it sort of drifts while it's spinning, but
So and then if all four go in the same direction in relation to the wheel, then it spins in place.
do all four of them go? I would have
In,
to.
in relation to the for the slant of the wheel, that way they'd all spin so stayed in.
I'd have to look at the picture
Would
again.
that happen for any? I mean, if you take your wheel like this, right? This wheel rotates like this,
Mhm.
and this will go like this,
Yeah.
and automatically the car would spin on its
Yeah.
axis, right?
Well,
Because of the tilt
the
on
back-
these rollers, it causes the robot to strafe
Yeah, so
left
the
and
back
right.
would cause it to strafe. But if all four, I would think, I could be wrong because I haven't seen it work, but I think if all four were going in relation to the wheel, that's how you get it to spin in place
Yeah.
because they'd all four have
It's
to
really
be
nice to see this
synchronized.
actually. Yeah.
I'll bring it next
That's
week.
wicked.
So-
I might have to swing by.
A couple of years ago, I built a project using one of his robots that was supposed to. I had a big map of NFC tags on it, so it was mapping its location, so I could tell it to go to a certain location spot. But because it only used 2 wheels like that, it had to spin itself, and then it would move where it needed to go, and then it had to spin itself again and move. So it was like a 2-step process.
I haven't met you before. I don't think I have.
No, we haven't met, so I'm.
But also for your son, I think it's your son.
Yeah, first time I hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
No,
where we got the
I've
robot kit.
met the kid before.
Yeah.
He's been.
That's how you got the robot kit.
No,
There's a lot of terms that we'll use, and what Leroy should do is to say, well, NFC, near field communications. So you actually have to charge a chip inside an RFID card, and he was locating the robot to all these different RFID cards, little radio frequency cards.
okay. I was doing that. Anyway,
That's cool.
it would go forward, and then it would turn, and it would go where, and then it would stop where it needed to be. I'm going to take that project and convert this robot to do that. So instead, it's just going to go from wherever it is to wherever I tell it, like sideways,
Yeah,
or-
actually, yeah.
sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a-
Yeah, it can
Faster.
directly do polar translation.
Yeah. So I could do, like a diagonal kind of thing, or a strafing kind of thing, to get it where it belongs, without doing a whole lot of weird turning and hoping that it turns as far as I think it turns. And that was fun. That was a fun project that I took apart. That I found it taken apart. So anyway, that's that. Anybody?
I
Bueller?
need some more
Bueller?
domestic time. I got a request for a cast.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. Well,
You can do it.
As low as your robot is there something underneath of it that you need? Like a line follower sensors or something? Is there a reason why the body's so low? Or is it just the design?
That's just the way. Well, it's low because the wheels are pretty small.
The way the gearboxes are turned?
Yeah.
Okay.
There actually was no instructions. I sort of put it together the way I thought it needed to go together by looking at pictures.
Because my up quad, instead of having the motors like this, my motor's like that, in order to get a lot of ground clearance.
Yeah.
So I can drive it in grass and stuff.
This one.
Yeah.
I was taking a guess at some of it, but the original pictures you can see the motors are like that.
Yeah,
So,
this is clear. This is better.
but I took like a huge guess about how to mount this battery, because I was like, nothing made sense. So this is what made sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see their motor mounts and how they're doing that.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
yeah, I actually like how they got, and they're
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 real
tight.
stable?
They're
They're
tight.
tight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I lost Jim. Jim wanted to do something.
Whose robot was that you were showing?
That's mine. Oh, who made it? Who
Yeah.
designed it?
Yeah.
The Chinese.
Okay.
It's
Somebody in Chinese.
It's completely generic, and the website is Chinese, and they don't even have that robot on their website.
What does it say? It's a goof off of Mars Rover, probably.
September 21st, 22nd. Anybody else want to go? I'm going to China. Anybody else wanna go?
I don't even have a passport. I couldn't go to China even if I wanted to go to China.
Well, you can get a passport tomorrow.
I
Probably
could.
could.
You gotta go to Chicago, but.
So Zach, this is
No, that would be a
the-
visa.
This is a meeting
You have to use your
announcement.
passport first.
You should have a copy of it now.
Chinese consulate.
There's
Well,
the
there's
club
a-
calendar. That's
oh,
just
express.
meetup.com.
Passport and.
Uh, This is the meeting announcement is a link to this particular document, so you can see what people have on their mind. See if Leroy's been sticking stuff in there, and we try to send it out. Usually it comes out on Thursday morning or whenever somebody gets around to it. Here's the news page that used to be in the meeting announcements. Now Leroy's got it out separate, so you can click there. Link to meeting videos. That's a video camera there. If this meeting's being recorded, watch your language. I didn't even remember that. Too late now.
Yeah, really. That should be on the door, shouldn't it? Before you-
There's the GitHub site for the club. Leroy, Jeremy, Vintage. The club website, which is, basically what generally we do and what we're about. The club membership participation notes. You want to see what we've been doing? That's a good place to look. That compiles all of the information.
I might play with one of them. I
Announcement.
don't know if I can do much.
Also, we have
Anytime soon.
there's the
way too many
announcements.
things going on.
We have a couple of new things going on. We're using Google Plus as kind of a discussion group, and Google Plus went away, and Marcus and Leroy have been working with a forum, and they come up with a pretty decent alternative to Google Plus. So if you want to talk to us in general, you can go to this place and see what's on people's mind. It blew up. Did it blow up?
No,
Okay.
I'm showing the forum thingamabob.
Okay.
Oh, look, our picture showed back up. Yay!
So you can go in there, and if you want to see ask a question, or you want to consult with somebody, we just started it, and we're trying to build it up.
Awesome.
So we'll point it out. I try to point it out at least once every meeting. So it takes a while to brew these things up.
Sure.
But these guys are discussing all kinds of things outside the meeting, and this bringing them into that would be really nice for the whole group. Even see what the heck Ray's doing. Oh my God! Don't go wild on us, Ray. The club discussion group.
No, I haven't even started telling you guys about what I've been working on.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd Steve go?
He's coming back.
He's not coming back.
He said he's coming back.
I think he's going out there to get him a clock.
Yeah. Maybe
He's got a toolbox in the car.
Yeah.
And Leroy's been doing his technology news of the week.
He can come.
We do have some
That's how I used to get an expedited passport.
some folders
Papers.
that we
They
started
have an
long
office
ago,
over
and
in
some people have
Florida.
updated them. So if you want your own folder with a link to it, if you want to do your own folder and you want to publish your own stuff,
But you have to go to the
I got some projects there. Vicente's got a little work.
3 or 4 places in the U.S. where they
And old
do,
Marcus has got some
on
stuff
one
there.
day.
Some of his good documentation is there
I did it about a week.
about work that he's done
Normally
with
it's
wireless
6
IoT
weeks, and they
stuff.
don't even promise that.
A lot of good stuff. You'll see some IoT stuff.
But
Go
you
look
can
at that.
reduce it.
Yeah.
But
Anything else we need to say, Leroy?
I'm happy.
Chicago.
no,
Okay,
you
I'm
can do it
done
in.
again.
You can do it at any
Oh.
federal post
Mhm.
office.
My main
They
project
can
I've been
go
working
and
on
take your
is
picture.
the
Yeah. But they,
Um,
they
high-speed
they
internet
still
wireless.
send all that off if you do that.
conversion.
I
Yeah.
know, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And,
I did it.
Well, I'm saying.
did I tell you guys about that weeks ago?
Yeah.
Where they're running
In
the
fact, I was talking
running the line near
to
your place.
Yeah, so we've got high-speed internet, whether it's cable or fiber, is accessible downtown Middletown, and that's right on the main street. But my main business is at a warehouse that's on the back side of the airport, right next to the river. So blocking all the internet access from my building, we've got the airport, the city park, and a whole conglomerate of railroad ties and old defunct railroad stuff. And the internet companies will not dig through the airport, they won't dig through the park, and they won't try to dig under the railroad. So they told us flat out, you're stranded out on an island, that we're not going to bring high-speed internet. So they said, we'll do it. $48,000, they'll cover $40,000, so it only cost me $8,000 and $500 a month. And I said no. So instead of doing that, we have put up a 50-foot radio tower. At the top of the tower has a receiver, transceiver, and so that's at the warehouse that's kind of all out on the island. And then 0.81 miles away is the point-to-multipoint transmitter. It looks like a cell phone antenna that is only serving one customer. So it's on a 30 foot, it's about 35 feet up, I guess, 35 feet up. And it's only pointing to the one place. And it's supposed to support 400 megabits per second. And so everything is up and running on the client side. And we're going to try to use this weekend to see if we can get the high frequency communication together.
Now this is what frequency?
It's a multi-band, but primarily 2.4 and then 5 gigahertz. So it's called a nano beam communication system.
So it's kind of like Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, the radios are all the components in the whole system now. I'm rebuilding my entire network structure at the warehouses. I'm buying all Ubiquity components so that it's all interchangeable and all talk to each other. And there's not going to be like, can I get my Linksys to talk to my Netgear and talk to this other crap? So it's all Ubiquity now. But the transceivers are supposed to go 7 miles, and all I'm doing is 0.81 miles.
So how much did the tower and everything cost you?
The tower was probably about the cheapest thing. I only had about $85 tied up in the tower. I had about $100 in the concrete. I had to buy a mast pole, linkages to the mounts of the building. I had to buy another mast pole for the other building, some mounts to get to the block. The Ubiquity stuff was probably the most expensive. Like the antenna for the point-to-multipoint side, that was $180.
These Yankees are
No.
tube.
The high frequency stuff, it basically looks like an aluminum extrusion, like yay tall, with a plastic cover on the front. So I would hold it up this way and then just kind of point it towards you. It's interesting. I'll do pictures and everything out when we're done.
Is it like a vertical phase together or something? Or you don't know? Okay.
Sort of. So that's the way one of them is. The receiver just looks like a bowl with a plastic, and I think it's more of a dish-looking thing. It has.
I think it's more of a dish thing.
It has I guess about a 20-degree span. The larger antenna has a 45-degree span. So they're pretty narrow, really. We want to make sure that we're pointing in the right direction. But the reason that we put the point-to-multipoint downtown Middletown. The reason we put the point-to-multipoint downtown Middletown right in the middle of your screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's downtown.
That's downtown, and a little bit to the right. Yeah. That one right there. Right in the middle of the
That
screen.
one.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
downtown.
That's downtown, and
I was
that one transmitter will talk to multiple companies. So my company isn't the only one that's stranded on this little island of an area. So my next door neighbor businesses are also like, hey, Ray, yeah, we'll give you $75 a month, because right now my upload speed is 0.5, my download speed is 3.5. And this is DSL. It's horrible. But downtown, the upload speed is 85 and the download speed is 220.
The thing that he's got up on his tower on his building looks like a
Okay,
little
that's
bit
an
like
access
that.
point.
Conventional.
It looks a
is
little
looks
bit like that.
It looks a lot like an access
It's
point.
called Ubiquity because it's supposed to work with everything.
I'm not seeing it.
No, it's Unify / Ubiquity.
Okay.
I don't actually see it.
It's actually pretty cool. Look up NanoBeam.
Well, I looked at
You did?
Nah, not really. That's what came up though.
The nano beam is the round bowl looking thing.
Oh,
Right there it is.
right there.
Yeah, nano beam AC bridge. Okay, so you can use the little AC bridge and you do just a 1 point to 1 point. But we wanted to do a multi-point to individual, a main base station to multi-points. So
Is this 16 gigahertz throughput?
it is amazing.
Very good.
So it's working.
5 gigahertz, but it'll do at 2.4, which is it's one of the multi-bands. 450 plus megabits per second. If you scrolled up a little bit, right there, 450 megabits per second. 10 kilometers, 16 dBi. Yeah,
How
gain.
far are you from downtown, Ray?
0.81 miles.
You're over near the edge
Yeah.
of Smith Park.
So I don't need this 10-kilometer issue. You know, I'm a 1/7 of the distance that I'm really concerned about.
He's next
So,
door.
Yeah.
1.1 toward Monroe sometime?
I actually did the map. I looked at Google Maps to see within this 45-degree span. I was like, can I get Leroy over here? And, yeah, I had to turn a little bit too much to get Leroy's house in it.
It's all right.
So
Leroy's happy with what he's got.
So you have clear line of sight.
You're right near where the old
that's the reason for the
building,
tower.
the old Aranca and all that, Smith Park.
No,
No.
that Aranca is at the very end of the runway.
He's on the other end.
If you're at the other end of the runway, I have a building here, crosses the tip of the runway,
Right near
and then over
Carnegie
there.
Boulevard and all
So-
that.
Hook Road.
Yeah, Hook Road is on the back
Yeah.
side of them.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, I did look at this on the map. I made sure there was no buildings in
Yeah,
the way,
line of sight.
no massive trees, no likelihood that there would be trucks and stuff parked right in front of me.
Yeah.
The only chance I would have is that, like, on a festival or something, they might put up a Ferris wheel.
There's no
Right
way
there.
somebody's going to come in and put something and obstruct something permanently.
Nah. We even talked about, at night one day going over there and cutting down some trees.
Yeah.
We did.
Yes, it was a rogue beaver.
It's all good. That's why we got up 55 feet.
Yeah.
We're good 8 feet above any of the trees and issues.
Yeah.
But we missed there's like this 12-story apartment building.
Yeah.
We missed it by like 8 feet, so we're good. Really, I mean, I didn't just look at my building. We looked at the other customers that are 5 degrees to the left, and then the other customers that are.
So how many would chip in to help?
I'm looking at about 4 or 5 right now, which that would turn me into what's called a WISP, a wireless internet service provider. But, all of us have individually looked at what it would cost to get high-speed
Yeah.
internet, and no one of us wants to pay for that.
Oh, I don't blame you.
But I was like, okay, well, I can either pay the $8,000 so that I can get locked into a 5-year
$500 a
term
month.
of $500 a month. Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or I could just spend in the end, I think the total is going to end up being about $2,600.
But then you'll be able to bill out on a monthly to recover.
Yeah, it's going to be a club, not a not a WISP, okay? Because I want, I didn't want somebody saying, "Hey, you're making money off this." No, I'm not. There's no way I'm making money on that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised with the 5 businesses that just all 5 of you went together and said, hey, we want this. They wouldn't need all the cost for that. And let's still try to like
We
250
talked about it
$5.
with the internet companies, Spectrum in particular,
Yeah.
and they sent out a survey crew to look at where they would have to dig and everything. And one of the problems is that if you get cable internet, it goes through a cable hard line, and you have a bending radius, and they did not want to dig and go underneath the railroad, and they won't go through the airport or the park. So the only other option was fiber. Fiber will bend to a much smaller radius, and they're like, oh yeah, we can bring that in. That's the one that they were going to eat a bunch of cost, and I would only have to pay $8,000 to get it. And they're like, oh yeah, we can get this. You know, we'll use a mold to go underneath of this other thing. And then they gave me this. If you go for a 2-year contract, a 5-year contract, or a 7-year contract, you know, the 2-year contract was like $780 a month.
Yeah.
You're
still gonna pay for it.
Yeah, I was like, this is stupid. I'm not gonna do this for them.
No, I thought it was just interesting because when I was looking at them the other day, or well, a few months ago, they said they, like for where I'm at, they said they have a junction out at the edge of the property that's still available.
Well,
but
if the next customer with proper junction is 1,000 feet or less from you, they're like, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But they limit your bandwidth. So they were telling me they would limit it to 25 by 25, which means 25 megabit download, 25 upload.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, I've got 80 by 220 ready for me to beam it, and that still is the bottleneck for this equipment.
Right.
So this equipment will do more than double what they're going to provide.
Right.
But that's on a nice clear day with no snow, no rain. I haven't seen a rainy, snowy day that bad in years.
Maybe the almanac's calling for us.
You'd have a sky full of ash and volcano.
You're doing battery backup? Need to think about that for maintenance when you're out of Dodge.
Yeah, I'm going to have Steve on call. Go
I
fix
used to live
everything.
in Middletown. Ash in the sky is a thing.
Yeah. Steel mill. Steel mill with pushing those cocoa. Well, they got different cocoa.
Yes, we do have battery backups on damn near everything.
Cool.
The really cool thing about this antenna, it's 9 watts, and the main building that I have in downtown, it's on the grid, the same grid that the police department's on, so it's up 99% of the time.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that nice? I don't even have to pay for the extra uptime.
What I was gonna say is like where I'm at is because it's like 3,000 or 800 feet to that junction. They were gonna do area coax. They wanted to pay $6,000 of it and just string it down the pole.
I had Steve climbing the tower and, hey, why don't you terminate this Cat 6 cable while you're up there? It was nice. We should have gotten photos, but Leroy helped out. Nick was there. Nick is one of my employees. Trying to big guy. But
Leroy left really soon.
I have a. I know I was joking with you while you were there. It's like, hey, it'd be nice to have another small rack to put into the electrical room. So I now have 2 racks I need to clean up, and one of them is going to be a replacement to go into the main building's electrical room. So don't know when I'm going to do that, but I'll be doing that. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. Fun stuff.
So I've got some 1U48 port and 48 punch down blocks. I was gonna.
Remember I showed you those 2 punch down keystone.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're like 2U each of those, but they're like.
Yeah, those are Cat 3.
One of them's Cat 3, the other one's Cat 5. It says Cat 5 on it.
Okay.
So, I'm good. And I did check where you said where people plug in an RJ12 and they damage the 1 pin and the 8 pin, and they're not damaged.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's always nice to see somebody with experience. So I had been asking Steve to come by and bring his experience and tell me what he thought of the cable, what he thought of the routing directions, the different equipment that we're using, and he's like, Ray, if I'm your network expert guy, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. But I think with the combined experience and expertise, we're all doing pretty good.
Yeah, just don't ask me to measure any more cables.
Okay.
Was it short?
No, we made it by like a foot.
Yeah,
Made it by 1 foot.
short.
It's scary.
We
How
moved.
did you? I mean, that looks so good.
I think we had to move the PoE injector and some other stuff to where we weren't expecting it,
Mhm.
but it made it by like 1 foot. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
We were
Yeah.
so close.
I was too.
And even over in the new building where we had pulled, Nick and I thought we pulled plenty of extra wire. We're going to have to move that rack over to the unexpected location in order to make it the right length and get it to the right place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, otherwise we're going to extending 6 cables.
So I would recommend, instead of doing that, put just a small 12-port punch-down panel there, and then run patch.
So basically it's a extension.
Yeah.
Okay. Do what you got to do, right? Okay.
All right, so it's like 10 till. So anybody got anything for other than me for next week?
I might do something with the displays. Probably. Nothing big, pretty small.
Yeah.
So we can pair.
My demo probably won't last very long either.
Yeah. No, we may cover it.
We can do the round table and do the mini announcements.
I am pretty sure
I'm
if my
sure.
passport comes back from Swift. Swift is an expediting company. So if my passport comes back in time, I'm probably going to be in Canada.